Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking an absolutely mind-bending sci-fi mystery that fundamentally challenges everything we think we know about humanity's place in the universe. We're diving into a fascinating narrative set in the year 2147, where centuries of looking up at the stars culminate in one single event that changes the entire trajectory of the human race. We're going to break down the exact sequence of events, the global reaction, and this chilling confrontation that honestly leaves us with way more questions than answers.
It all kicks off with this chilling single transmission. The gate is opening. I mean, just imagine the sheer panic. One night, after centuries of humanity endlessly searching the stars and hoping someone out there would answer, a signal finally drops. But it doesn't just hit one random satellite or a specific dish. This exact terrifying warning was received simultaneously by literally every single observatory on planet Earth. Okay, let's dive right into this timeline with Section 1, the global warning. The escalation here is it's wild. Think about it. For hundreds of years, we've had absolute silence. Humanity's just meticulously searching the stars. Then, boom, day 1 hits and that global warning signal is received. And a mere 3 days after that, day 4, this cosmic threat goes from being a spooky signal in the sky to a massive, terrifying physical reality violently rising right out of the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But, before we talk about that physical anomaly, we really need to understand the nature of that day 1 transmission. Because this wasn't some complex alien language for our linguists to decode. It wasn't mathematical music meant to show intelligence. It was a pure warning. It completely defied all expected forms of extraterrestrial communication. They didn't want to chat, right? They wanted us to prepare. Which brings us to Section 2, the Pacific Obelisk. 2 kilometers. That is the sheer, terrifying scale of this black gate that erupted from the ocean floor. To put that into perspective for you, that is more than twice the height of the tallest building humanity has ever constructed, just towering out of the Pacific. Now, what's absolutely crazy here is what this structure is completely missing. Sure, it's a colossal black monolith rising from the water, but there are 0 doors. There are no symbols, no carvings to analyze. It is just endless darkness. This complete lack of discernible features makes the structure a total black box to scientists. It gives humanity absolutely nothing to work with. So, what does humanity do when faced with an impenetrable giant unknown? Well, predictably, we throw everything we have at it. We deployed our absolute greatest military forces. We're talking highly advanced missiles, high-tech lasers, and the result? The weapons just vanished. They literally disappeared into this untouchable darkness. Nothing could even scratch it. The chaotic military response was completely fundamentally useless against the immense silent power of this gate. So, moving on to Section 3, Ethan Carter's choice. This massive failure of force totally shifts the paradigm. We have to change tactics. And that shift is led by a young archaeologist named Ethan Carter. As he steps forward, a colleague desperately screams out, "Ethan, don't. Nobody knows what that thing is." And that right there, that perfectly captures the paralyzing fear of the scientific community. It's a desperate plea to maintain a safe distance from something that just effortlessly swallowed our most advanced weaponry. But Ethan's logic is brilliantly stark. He says, if it wanted us dead, we'd already be gone. He completely understands the sheer, unfathomable power imbalance here. The military strikes prove the gate is totally invulnerable. So its passivity, that's a choice. It's not a weapon of immediate destruction, it's something else entirely. Which leads to this incredibly tense sequence of events. A single, unarmed human decides to make physical contact. Ethan steps forward. He reaches out, his hand physically touches that impossible, endless black surface, and, in response to that simple human touch, a colossal structure that just absorbed missile strikes slowly opens. Let's move right into Section 4, the Forgotten Origin Theory. As the gate opens, this cold voice echoes out from the darkness. Inside, "You have finally returned." Wow. I mean, this is a massive puzzle piece for us. The gate doesn't greet Ethan as a stranger or an intruder or some new discovery. It greets him, and by extension all of humanity, as a returning presence. And Ethan's whispered response perfectly mirrors our own confusion. "I've never been here before." Remember, he is an archaeologist. His entire life is dedicated to understanding human origins on Earth. From his perspective, and the perspective of all human science, this implies an intimacy with the unknown that we just have zero record of. And then the cold voice answers, "That's what you were meant to believe." And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate paradigm shift. It's suggesting that everything we know about human evolution, our history, our entire existence on Earth, it might all be a carefully fabricated lie. It implies our true origins actually trace back to whatever is waiting in the darkness of this structure. But, of course, we don't get all the answers right away. Immediately after that mind-blowing revelation, the encounter just violently ends. A powerful force pulls Ethan deep into the darkness. The massive gate slams shut. And then, just silence. Nobody ever saw Ethan Carter again.
This story leaves us right on the precipice of this massive cliffhanger. Based on everything we've looked at in this explainer, the global warning, this untouchable monolith, and that wild revelation that our entire history is a fabrication, what do you think is hiding behind the bait? What actually is humanity's true origin? Connect the pieces and form your own theories. Thank you so much for joining me today, and always keep questioning what you're meant